Pain and suffering are not fun, and nobody wants to go through it. But one doctor and author is taking some time to talk about how we can change that perspective just a little bit.
Yes, Dr. Dillon Caswell is here with us to offer some insight on how we can change our relationship with pain and suffering. So what do you mean by this, and where do we start?
So where we start with this is understanding that at some point, all of us are going to go through pain and suffering. It doesn't matter who you are. It's the one guarantee that we have in this life is that that's going to happen. And we know a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are in chronic pain. How do we start to change that? We start to change that by understanding our relationship with pain and suffering does need to change, because what pain is, it's very complex. For breaking it down simply, if we have acute pain, it's basically our body perceiving that there's a threat. And what's the threat? The threat is that we're going to lose meaningful activity. So for a musician, it might be they hurt their hand, and now their pain experience is, this isn't just a hurt hand, this is what provides food on the table. This is what pays my bills, is me strumming my guitar. So the experience is different for that person. So it's the threat of losing meaningful activity. Now, when we have long-term pain, more term chronic pain, that's a request for change. And I think when we look at it that way, what a beautiful thing that our body has to let us know that, hey, something isn't right here. You know, we need to get more sleep. Maybe I need to end a toxic relationship or a toxic work environment, but maybe I need to get into this mode of thriving instead of surviving. And it's great that we have that internally in us to tell us that.
I guess maybe that's why not all pain is always a bad thing, right? Because it's a warning system.
Yeah, absolutely. And to show that point a little bit further, there is one condition in which people don't experience pain, and it's called congenital insensitivity. And a lot of people hear that and go, oh, wow, I wish I had that. I wish I didn't have to feel pain my whole life. But the reality is that the lifespan of these people that have this condition, they don't live past the years of 20s. They don't make it to their 30s. They end up passing because they don't learn limitations. So they're jumping off of buildings into tables. They're doing all of these crazy things, and they don't feel the pain. So they can have fractures, they can have these things happen, it gets infected, and they end up passing. Yeah. So again, when we look at pain in that way, wow, this is a really good thing to teach us limitations to keep us here with our loved ones a little bit longer.
Why are opioids not the solution?
Yeah, so we were just in Italy for our honeymoon, and it was amazing. The people that we met from overseas, they said, wow, you're American, you guys have an opioid problem. And we were blown away of like, wow, that's what people are perceiving of our nation. It's interesting. 80% of the world's opioid supply is consumed in the United States. 99% of the world's hydrocodone supply is used in the United States. Yet we have some of the highest chronic pain rates out of any developed nation. So the opioids aren't doing the job of what they should be doing. They're highly addictive. The other reason that we shouldn't be going to opioids for chronic pain is because the brain works by neuroplasticity. Neurons that fire together, they wire together. So when you're taking an opioid, this opioid's filling in a receptor that your brain already has. Now your brain says, I need to accommodate because these things are so important. So it starts making new pain receptors, which means now you need a higher dosage. And then those ones get filled, the brain makes new receptors, and you need a higher dosage. So it just really starts this path of needing more and more and more and more instead of getting to a solution that would lead to a long-term result.
That begs the question, what is an alternative avenue then?
Yeah, the alternative avenue is, we now know that pain is a request for change. So if we can figure out what is that request that is being made, maybe it's a past trauma that needs to be sat with and dealt with, maybe there's some forgiveness that needs to happen, maybe it's getting back to that meaningful activity. I work with a lot of people that are in their 50s and 60s, and you know, they had dreams of playing professional tennis or professional basketball. And I asked them the question, well, when's the last time you had a racket in your hands? When's the last time you just went out to the park and took a jump shot? Oh, I can't do that, I can't do that. Well, we can't create or destroy energy, we can just transform it. So what if we transform that pain, replace it with meaningful activity, and watch that start to go away? And I have multiple stories with patients and clients that has been the solution of what is your lifelong dream, and how do we start to achieve that and work towards that, where you feel purposeful and you feel like you're contributing to society.
Yeah, we only have a few seconds left, but talk about the event that you have tomorrow.
Absolutely. So we're having our first Syracuse event tomorrow night at Holy Family Church. It starts at 7 p.m. It's free admission. Everyone is welcome to come. And we're going to talk about how my wife and I got to shake hands with the Pope. That'll be part of the talk, which is really exciting. But we're going to really dive into these topics that are in the book. How should we look at adversity? How should we look at suffering? And we're going to give you that framework to help you start to become the person that you're intended to be.
That's great. Well, thank you for being here again. And you can can join local author and adjunct professor for an evening of healing through hope, including a live talk and book signing afterward. Admission is free, and the event will take place tomorrow night at 7 at Holy Family Church in Camillus. You can learn more about Dillon's book at hopenotnope.org.